Welcome to Jumpstart Day 5, our final day of Pack Expo Connects and the final days of us starting our day together. All of us at Jumpstart can't thank you enough for joining us this week. And as I mentioned earlier, your access to this week's content and exhibitor showrooms will be available through March 31st, 2021. While this week was action-packed, you can continue to navigate packaging solutions using packexpoconnects.com for the next 4 months. For you repeat viewers, the Friday lineup will be a tad different, as we have interactive discussions in the Solution Room beginning at 10 a.m. Check the schedule and add them to your MyConnects planner. These are really great opportunities for instant feedback to real-world issues. Today's Jumpstart will serve up a potpourri of topics, including emerging brands, pharma and medical device packaging, and the changing, and some may say evolving, role of the contract packager. But first, here's PMMI Media Group's Jim Curzan with his look at e-commerce. As someone who did an e-commerce presentation at Pack Expo East in March that was out of date before the show was even over, I can tell you this is a completely exploding arena.
Thanks, Sean, and good morning, everyone. Back in the fall of 2018, PMMI Business Intelligence released a study on the growing e-commerce market. The report, Think Inside the Box, found the entire supply chain was stressed, developing a strategy to satisfy the growing consumer demand to have packages delivered right to their door. PMMI found that a majority of CPGs were planning to change their secondary package, either to prevent damage or have less impact on the environment. But a good percentage were also looking at changing their primary packaging too, particularly closures plagued by spills or leaks. A sure sign of the changes to come, almost half of the respondents were creating departments and job titles centered around e-commerce fulfillment. These CPGs, primarily running high-speed automated lines, were faced with making disruptive operational changes, and all in an attempt to capture a market delivering less than 10% of retail sales at the time. Grocery e-commerce sales were even less, making up only 2 to 4% of total grocery sales. But as the PMMI study concluded, massive and rapid growth is predicted. But no one could have predicted this. COVID-19 has accelerated the growth of e-commerce by 5 to 7 years. Department store sales are predicted to decline by more than 60% by year-end, and bankruptcies and store closings continue to make the nightly news. Meanwhile, e-commerce is projected to grow by nearly 20% in 2020. And grocery sales have now skyrocketed, and more consumers are growing comfortable with ordering online. This adds another level of complexity to e-commerce, the cold chain. Particularly successful and requiring few changes to packaging or distribution is Click It and Pick It, ordering online but collecting your purchase at a distribution center or the retail store for curbside pickup. Perfect for life during a pandemic. Everywhere you look, the numbers are staggering. In the first 6 months of the year, consumers spent nearly $350 billion online with U.S. retailers, up more than 30% for the same period in 2019. The growth in e-commerce is rocking the packaging world, from customized gifting and monthly personalized subscription boxes made possible through digital printing, to custom order picking and individual packouts. All agree that more automation, particularly robots, is required to meet growing consumer demand. For now, many pundits are predicting that these new shopping behaviors will stick post-pandemic. COVID-19 has introduced chaos into what was already a disruptive category. Empty store shelves, delivery delays, even canceled orders demonstrate that the supply chain is still seriously stressed.
Okay, we're back. Continuing on with e-commerce, here is Brent Lindbergh from package design firm Fuse Neo with a deep dive into the latest e-commerce packaging developments. Let's go to Brent for his report.
Hey Sean, thanks. So we've all been here, right? This big box shows up on our front doorstep and we wonder to ourselves, what did I order that was this big? And then if we're really honest, we start to imagine, what did somebody send me? Is it a surprise? Maybe it's that golf club that's gonna help me win the PGA Tour. Or maybe it's that new hula hoop for goat yoga. And then we realize that no club is going to make us win the PGA Tour. We're not that good at golf. And hula hoops might not even be used for goat yoga. I have no idea. Hi, my name is Brent Lindbergh. I'm the founder of Fuse Neo, a packaging innovation and prototyping firm that lives in this whole crazy world of structural packaging. So we've been helping brands solve challenges in all types of markets, from toys to CPG to consumer electronics, solving crazy challenges around protection and sustainability and all of that fun stuff. But it's really this idea of technical demands meeting brand constraints. In addition to helping brands directly, we also support some retailers, and Amazon being one of them. Really helping with this diverse range of packaging challenges that they have both internally and with brands that sell on their platforms. So it's extra disappointing to get a box this big and find something very small inside. I mean, you probably had that cruel birthday or Christmas present where, you know, on the inside was a gift card of some massive box that you thought was a bicycle or something. We'll talk about my childhood later. So when we were introduced to the stemware company Lennox, we were tasked with really helping to solve this challenge around excess packaging, just really creating minimal packaging for e-commerce. And this is where we started. So if you went online onto Amazon and you bought a 6-pack of red wine glasses, this is the size box that it would come in. Well, that seems a bit excessive, right? I mean, it is. But there's a reason for it. So they've got retail packaging that has worked for the retail environment. It's great on a pallet, it gets to the stores, glasses aren't broken usually. Well, that retail packaging wasn't quite good enough to survive online. And so they added a little bit of extra packaging to it, which definitely helped its chances. But it still really wasn't proven to be surviving online. And so Amazon adds another box to it, right? So you've got this box with dunnage, a smaller box with dunnage, and ultimately you land with a retail box. There's a virtual nesting doll of packaging going on. So when we got the retail packaging, to be honest, our assessment was it's not that bad. It didn't seem crazy excessive. It seemed like it had some protective elements that would allow it to survive. So it just didn't seem that bad. It was all corrugated. It was really primarily 2 inserts, easy to pull out. They each held 3 glasses. The inserts do use a fair amount of material. As you can see, they're long. You know, it's twice as long as this. And the glasses, I mean, they're held in there okay. Maybe some room for optimization, but not all that bad. So where do you start with a project like this? When we were tasked with designing really optimal e-commerce packaging and, if possible, size reduction, which, I mean, that seems a little crazy. We start with testing. We really start with evaluating and baselining this product. So we ran this through ISTA6 Amazon SIOC testing, dropping in vibration tests, more drops, and it became pretty apparent pretty quickly that there were some flaws in this packaging. So what we did expect to see was broken glasses at some point. What we didn't expect to see is actually broken stems. See, the glasses weren't breaking where we thought they were in this thin bowl portion. They were actually breaking in the stem. And you know, there's a couple reasons that could have been happening. One, shock impact from the bowl or the foot as it fell. You know, the weight of that bowl dropping onto the stem. Could have been resonant frequency stuff. There's a number of things that could have been happening in here, but either way, it wasn't passing the test. So we start, like all good stories, with a sketch. We started with sketches, with ideas, with thoughts, and we fleshed those out, you know, multiple designers kind of pitching in with different ideas, building on that brainstorming. And then we start refining. We call some of the bizarre ideas out or bring in components of them, and we start honing in on fewer designs. We take those designs, we test them, we prototype them, we break some more glasses, we refine, we consolidate, we test, we prototype. It's just this very iterative process. And each time learning a little bit about what's causing damage to the glasses and what's helping. And we repeated that process until we have a design that is really efficient and is surviving the test. So where did we land? I'm glad you asked. We actually landed with a pretty incredible size reduction and passing the SIOC test. So we landed with an insert here that not only nests the glasses together in this alternating style. All right, wait right there. So this is something that comes up really a lot more than you would think when we start looking at e-commerce. There's a certain sense of directionality to retail. When you put something on a pallet, it's upright. When that pallet moves into the store, it's upright. When the product gets placed on the shelf, it's upright. That's not there in e-commerce. And so this idea of something being kept upright, you can't guarantee that a package will go through the whole fulfillment process through parcel delivery in a certain direction. So why are all the products placed in the same direction? And in some cases, when you don't place products in the same direction, you can actually gain quite a bit of efficiency. So that was something that came up pretty early on in this sketching process for this, and something to remember. But also supports the glasses at 8 points around their perimeter, and provides side isolation, top and bottom protection. We are capturing the bowl and the base really in a way that uses less material than before, and creates a much smaller footprint. The glasses are tighter together, they're closer to the sides. All around, we've reduced the size and the amount of material. And this is one of those win-win stories where we were also able to improve the brand experience and create a better premium experience with graphics, which I'm not going to show you some of that. And we were able to land with a pretty substantial size reduction from their current retail. So as you can see here, in at least one direction, and really in two directions, we've gotten smaller. One direction, we've gotten probably over 1.5 inches smaller, and in another, we've gotten about 1/4 inch smaller. And we're using less material. The packaging weighs less, it's smaller, so they're optimizing trucks and warehouses better, just all around better. So I know what you're saying, that's not really that big of a difference. But if I remind you that this, which is designed to ship in its own container with just a shipping label, this is all that a customer would receive at their doorstep, needs to be compared to all of this. See, that one box that's designed to ship by itself replaces the need for Amazon's overbox, Lennox's overbox, and their retail packaging. The one solution negates all of this. And we didn't just create one design for one glass. We wind up designing a whole system, a formula, a recipe of sorts that allowed that same logic to be applied to martini glasses or white wine or champagne. Really any type of stemware could apply that same recipe, and they all passed. Across multiple manufacturers, we were able to get this design to pass. And in almost every case, we were able to optimize space and reduce the amount of packaging and material. So I really hope that you're encouraged and you're challenged to see opportunities to improve packaging all around us. One of our family values here at FuseNeo is optimistic curiosity. And the idea behind that is just question with wonder and believe in better. And I hope you're challenged to look for some of those opportunities, because with something as mature as the stemware category and all of the designs in it, there was really still room for optimization, for some pretty substantial improvement. So I want to challenge you to take a different mindset and a different approach to designing some of those standard, typical things that you see every day. Back to you, Sean.
Thanks for that great intel, Brent. I may borrow some of that for future presentations. Now back to Jim Krzan and an interview with ISTA on how to protect your package from the rigors of e-commerce shipping and maintaining compliance with Amazon directives.
All right, well, we're back this morning, and for our final segment in our look at e-commerce, we're now joined by Eric Heiser, who is the VP of Standards and Certification for the International Safe Transit Association. Eric, real briefly, what is ISTA and what do you do?
Well, ISTA is a member-driven technical trade association that has a focus on distribution dynamics. And more specifically, we're a test development organization that helps our members reduce product damage throughout the supply chain and optimize resource usage so that they can have an efficiently designed package system.
And when it comes to e-commerce and Amazon specifically, what is your role?
So our role is to really understand the distribution dynamics that exist in any supply chain, but specifically for e-commerce, we know that this supply chain is unique and different and more challenging than the traditional brick and mortar. So with Amazon, we partnered to map out their supply chain so that you can have an understanding of the hazards that are before you entering into this supply chain.
And you keep mentioning testing. What kind of tests would someone expect their package to have to undergo?
Well, all supply chains have the common elements of compression, vibration, shock, drop, and atmospheric. The intensity and duration changes per supply chain, and for e-commerce, we know that the journey is a little bit longer, so those intensities and durations are a little bit longer as well. So the test includes vibration in all orientations and shocks in multiple orientations because these things travel down automated conveyors, and those introduce those hazards in any orientation. So those are some of the elements that are included in those test protocols.
And so on your website, you can find both the Amazon regulations or requirements and testing labs to send your package to, correct?
That is correct. There are nearly 600 ISTA certified labs around the world. And if you go to ISTA.org under Find a Lab, you can narrow down your search by region as well as the lab that will conduct that particular test for you and help you walk you through that process so that you can continue business or start doing business with Amazon.
Excellent. So let's get that address up on the screen so everybody knows where to find ISTA. Eric, thanks so much for joining us this morning. It's great to see you again. We've worked together a lot.